Hi, I'm Dr. Caroline Silby, and I'm with Tempo in Motion. We want to talk about today a couple strategies that allow you to actually train your mind. And the first of those strategies is the concept of control and being able to focus on what you do control about your golf game. So I want you to take a second and just think about all of the things, identify all of the factors about your golf game that tend to worry you, that cause concern, especially prior to a tournament or a round of golf. So some of those things that you might have started to identify are things like who you're playing against, so your opponents. You might also be worried about your peer group and what your peer group are thinking of you or the other golfers that you train with. Or maybe you're wondering what the coaches and your instructors are going to think, or your parents. Or maybe you're worried about winning or losing the tournament or qualifying so that you can continue on. Or maybe you're worried about the golf course and the conditions of the course. Or maybe your clubs just don't feel right to you that day. Or maybe this has been a tournament the last 3 years that you really have not played well in. So there are probably a myriad of factors that are of concern to you. Okay, so now I want to have you do a little bit more identification, but this tends to be a little bit more difficult. These are factors or qualities about yourself that you feel influence your outcomes in golf. And these can be either that you think that they influence your game of golf positively or negatively. So some of the qualities about yourself that you may have identified that actually influence your outcomes in golf may have been things like your confidence, your effort, your preparation, your pre-shot routine, making use of tempo tunes, your images, the pictures that you see in your head, the body language that you show in between your shots. These are all things that affect your game of golf. If you notice also, they're all things that you control. All of the worries that you identified earlier are things that are outside of your control. And so when you worry and you worry and you worry about things that you have no control over, you can start to feel incredibly stressed out and obviously out of control. So to help you focus on what you can control, I want you to think about a time where you played extraordinarily well. It can be a practice round or it could have been in a tournament. But I want you just to kind of recall that in your mind and remember that point in time. Okay, now I would like you to try to think about one action that you took that you think contributed to that successful outcome. Okay, so if you couldn't think of anything, you are not alone, because about 90% of the athletes that I work with, when I ask them to identify one action that they took to create high-level performance, their answer is, I don't know. But let's think about that. If you haven't identified and made a connection between your own actions and your successful performances, how do we ask you to perform consistently well? So I really want you to start to spend a lot of time focusing on the times that you've played your very best golf. And I want you to try to identify at least 3 actions that you've taken that have impacted those successful outcomes. Because now we can start to kind of formulate an action plan for you. I'm going to do this, this, and this in order to play my best golf. So that's getting you started on focusing on what you can control.